Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another fun-filled episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And let me tell ya, this really was quite a significant week, not just for animation, but also for the entire entertainment industry. There are plenty of great animation news that are really worth talking about right over here. Some updates, some new information, but of course, we all know what could be the biggest news that's going to be happening, so instead of just babbling on with this little introduction, why don't we just go ahead and get things started? So, I'm going to ask the chat wall right now, guys, are you all ready to start this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me go ahead and hear it in the chat wall. Guys, are you all ready? Let's see now. Okay, looks like we got some yeses. Okay. Do we have a bit more? Okay, good. I think now we should be fresh, we should be ready, and now we should go and get things started with this episode. And of course, why not go ahead and begin with the biggest entertainment news of the week, or possibly the biggest news of the week in general, because this has been going on for a very long time. The talks has been going on, the preparations have all been set, but now, this week, it has been official. We are now officially in the first week of the Disney-Fox merger. Yes, on March 20th, 2019, it was officially set in stone that Disney has officially purchased 21st Century Fox for a grand total of $71.3 billion. And also, as you could see, they already made a major update, and Disney made a big deal about it. They already went and updated their website, the WaltDisneyCompany.com, and they put up not just all the Disney things that they want to highlight, but also a lot of the Fox things. So as you could see, yeah, you got pictures like Sorcerer Mickey, you got Elsa, you got some ESPN sports stuff, Good Morning America, and also, like, you got Marvel, you got Star Wars, you got Pixar with Woody, but also now you got some Fox stuff integrated as well, where in here you also got Deadpool, you got The Shape of Water, you got Avatar, and then possibly, for me, the weirdest addition in this whole bunch, Bart Simpson. Now that is a character you never expect to be a part of the Disney family. But on top of that, now that this acquisition has been officially made, we also got a letter from Bob Iger that he sent to all his employees, in which right now I'm about to go and read this to you. I am proud to announce the acquisition is complete, and 21st Century Fox is now part of the Walt Disney Company. I'd like to welcome our new colleagues and thank employees on both sides of the deal for your patience and perseverance as we work through the lengthy acquisition and regulatory process. As you know, Disney has never been short on ambition. We've never been satisfied with the status quo, and our vision for the transformative era is our boldest yet. We are rapidly transforming our company to take full advantage of evolving consumer trends and emerging technology in order to thrive in this new and exciting time. Our acquisition of 21st Century Fox was driven by our strong belief that the ambition of these great business brands, franchises, and talents will allow us to move faster, reach farther, and aim higher, especially when it comes to building direct connections with consumers. I wish I could tell you that the hardest part is behind us, that closing the deal was the finish line, rather than just the next milestone. What lies ahead is the challenging work of uniting our businesses to create a dynamic global entertainment company with the content, the platforms, and the reach to deliver industry-defining experiences that will engage consumers around the world for generations to come. We've spent the last year exploring the new opportunities and synergies generated by bringing our two legendary companies together. Leaders across both organizations have worked closely together to understand how best to unlock this potential and unleash innovation and creativity to generate long-term growth. We're confident in our integration strategy and in our ability to execute its efficiency, and we're inspired to energize by the new possibilities. Our integration process will be an evolution, with some business impacted more than others. We've made many critical decisions already, but some areas still require further evaluation. We may not have answers to all your questions at this moment, but we understand how vital information is, and we're committed to moving as quickly as possible to provide clarity regarding how your role may be impacted. Having been on both sides on numerous acquisitions during my career, I have deep appreciation for how this one impacts everyone involved on both a personal and professional level. I understand the challenges, and I ask you to continue patience in the days to come as we combine this collection of great assets to create the world's premier entertainment company. Sincerely, from Bob, aka Bob Iger, aka Robert Iger, or however the fridge you want to call him. So that's basically the big thing. Now Disney has officially purchased Fox, and now the next big step is try to figure out a way to integrate Fox into the Disney family. Like, now they own these things, but now the next big step is just to try to find a way to integrate 21st Century Fox and all its movies and television assets and all that kind of stuff, and how it can fit into Disney's business, how they can fit all that in. And now we are at the point where the only thing that is just happening right now, at least in terms of the properties that Fox owns, now they belong to Disney, which honestly, this is going to be a big step for all of us, that we have to start getting used to seeing these characters being a part of the Disney family. Like, I know I have seen a whole bunch of people starting to be weirded out, seeing things, especially like even R-rated movies, starting to be a part of the Disney family, like Deadpool, or even The Shape of Water, or even stuff like Titanic. Like, now they're a part of Disney. But honestly, I think the moment that really weirded me out the most during this aspect, it would have to be from this article from D23. There we go. I'll get to that later. There's an article that D23.com made. It's called 21st Century Fox, 8 Decades of Movies and Television, where they would go and describe the short history of 21st Century Fox and how it evolved as a company and became a major movie and television and entertainment conglomerate. And from there, they would also include pictures that would have the logo of Disney, like D23. Like, here's one right over here, and this one, okay, we're pretty much used to seeing this. This is Han Solo and Chewbacca, and in here you see the D23.com logo, and on the little side you see copyright by Disney. Okay, so yeah, we're pretty much used to it. We're pretty much used to seeing Star Wars being a part of the Disney family, so in this element, yeah, we're kind of used to it. That's pretty common. Okay, I understand that. But things get a little crazy when we see this. A picture of The Simpsons with Homer, Maggie, Lisa, Marge, and Bart. And that has the Disney logo. And honestly, I think that's going to be the one that's going to be the most difficult for me to get used to seeing. Like, The Simpsons legitimately being a part of the Disney family. And as someone who used to watch a whole bunch of who used to watch a lot of Simpsons, like, I remember there was a time when they would always smack Disney, and they would smack them hard. In fact, probably the best example that I could think of in this case is in the Simpsons movie, where they did a little jab, where you see Bart Simpson wearing this black bra on his head going, "I'm the mascot of an evil corporation." Well, looks like you are a part of this evil corporation right now. It's just, it feels like there's this really weird irony going on. But then again, some people could argue that it is a bit of a transition with that as well, considering that Disney has already brought on board a lot of people who were very prominent in the Simpsons family, like Rich Moore, who's now the director of many great Disney films like the Wreck-It Ralph movies and Zootopia. And also, you got Brad Bird as well, someone who used to work on The Simpsons, and now he is credited in many great Pixar films like the Incredibles movies and Ratatouille. So maybe there is a bit of a transition, but now seeing like the Simpsons family, like Homer Simpson and Bart Simpson being a part of Disney and like having the official Disney logo like that, it's just honestly rather strange. But then, like, you go down, and then there's another picture, you see Home Alone. Okay, fine. Like, I guess with John Hughes, like, how he really made a massive impact in the early 90s, and how his style was also very prominent in 101 Dalmatians, the live-action remake of it. So that one, I guess I can understand. You could say, in a way, you could see how Home Alone can be viewed, like, as some kind of Disney movie. But then the next picture, this is one that I completely forgot about, and almost like The Simpsons, debatably even more, it was just so surreal for me to see that now this is also officially a part of the Disney family. Oh god, it's freaking Sid! It's Sid from Ice Age. Like, you see a picture of Sid happily holding a flower, and on the bottom you see the D23 logo, and copyright by Disney. It's just... honestly, it's so bizarre, and I completely forgot about the Blue Sky element, that yes, the Blue Sky films are now a part of Disney. That you got stuff like Ice Age, you got Epic, you got Ferdinand, you got, yeah, like, now Disney owns both animated Ferdinand stories, the 1939 animated short and the 2017 animated film, but still, like, Ice Age, like, Sid, Manny, and Diego, a part of the Disney family. Now, that is something that's going to give me a lot, that I need a lot of time to really process this, that this is a Disney property right now. That, for me, is just completely bizarre. Like, holy crap. Oh my god, it's just unusual. I'm just wondering, in this little article, they would talk about a whole bunch of stuff. Oh my god. Like, I'm looking into the description and how they would describe, like, in the 90s of what they have done. Like, oh my god, the D23, the official website, would even make a reference to frickin' Family Guy. Yes, even Family Guy is a part of the Disney family right now. Oh god, wow, like, you never think that Disney would actually mention Family Guy or Seth MacFarlane. Now, that is another really unusual aspect. But then, like, you go down, okay, here's another one that, like Star Wars, like, you're not surprised anymore. It does make a lot of sense, you know, stuff like Avatar, the 2009 James Cameron film. Now we are pretty much used to it, especially with Pandora being part of Animal Kingdom. Like, that is no surprise whatsoever. Like, that we're pretty much used to. But then we got the last picture, and this is another weird one. This is a little bit like the Ice Age one where you completely forgot about. Here's Freddie Mercury with the official D23 logo. Like, yeah, like, technically, yes, Bohemian Rhapsody was made by 20th Century Fox, so Disney owns Bohemian Rhapsody, and now Freddie Mercury is a part of the Disney family. You got Bart Simpson, you got Sid, and now you got freaking Freddie Mercury as a part of Disney. Like, Freddie Mercury, and here's the last thing you would expect. Like, this freaking Bohemian Rhapsody brought to you by Disney, by D23.com. What the fridge is this? It's this one, it's like, okay, wow, I never thought of that before. There is also one last picture right over here. I don't know where this is from specifically, but for those of you only listening, it's a picture of a woman holding out her hand to a little monkey. I know, like, she has a name and stuff like that, and, like, this is probably for a nature documentary and stuff like that, but it is more funny sounding when you just say a woman holding out her hand for a little monkey, you know? It's just that. But yeah, like, as you could tell, honestly, this could be something that could take a little while to just get used to. But then again, it's not necessarily our first time trying to get used to this kind of process, because this has already happened before, where we would need to get a little bit used to seeing the Lucasfilms properties being a part of the Disney family. Although that one is not necessarily that hard to think about, considering we got Star Tours and Indiana Jones at the Disney parks already, so that one is not hard to imagine. But also, when Disney purchased Marvel, now that is one that a lot of people got blown back, and people had a bit of a hard time to really think that characters like the Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man, Captain America, and all those guys would actually be a part of the Disney family. Like, that was something that was really difficult to think about. But nowadays, considering that Marvel is, like, dominating the film industry and stuff like that, it was probably for the best. And who knew that that all this would legitimately happen with Marvel? So maybe the same thing would actually happen, like, now that Disney went to own Fox. But also, at the same time, though, considering that we are in this subject matter of Disney purchasing Fox, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, of course. If we are going to get into this subject, then, of course, there is also another element that we must discuss about that's not as pleasant to go and get into, but, of course, it is regarding the layoffs. And of course, now that Disney went and officially purchased 21st Century Fox, there would be a whole bunch of layoffs that would actually happen. And it's not just with the little guys, but also among the big executives. Going into my source... Oh, by the way, beforehand, in my first article, I went and read onto The Hollywood Report. This one that I'm getting into right now is from Animation Magazine. I forgot to go and mention my sources. I apologize for that. Anyways, going back into this... But now that Disney went and officially purchased Fox, they had to let go of a bunch of people, and some of them, they were really, like, kind of the leaders of the company as well, like, really kind of the big bosses of their own field. And just reading from my source here in Animation Magazine, those receiving notices and severances include Chris Aronson, president of domestic theatrical distribution, who has been at Fox since 2005, Pam Levine, president of marketing, Andrew Crisp, head... Ooh, excuse me. Speaking of Crisp... there we go. Just to make sure you get all of that out. Andrew Crisp, head of international distribution, Heather Phillips, head of domestic theatrical publicity, Kevin Campbell, co-president of marketing, Mike Dunn, head of product strategy, Tony Sella, chief content officer, and Greg Madel, president of 20th Television. And on top of that, it's not just those big executives, but some people are estimating that in total, in the long run, there is going to be around 3,000 jobs that are going to be let go. And from there, we also got a message coming from Alan Horn and Ian Bergman, with their little statement regarding the ownership of Fox. So I'm also going to read you that right now. So let's see now. Just got to get it up to... Oops, a little too high. There we are. All right, so it states here, with the announcement that the Disney-Fox deal is officially complete, we begin an exciting new chapter in this history of both our companies and the industry. This is a major piece of the bold strategy Bob Iger has set for the Walt Disney Company as our business rapidly evolves. It's astounding and humbling to consider the rich dynamic legacies of these story studios and the endless possibilities ahead as we unite them. It's not something we take for granted as leaders, and we are looking forward to working together to build a team of unparalleled creativity and innovation. We've learned a lot in meetings held prior to deal close, yet there are many things that could not be discussed for regulatory reasons. We are happy to now have the chance to really understand and share how we operate at ground level, and we realize that we are only at the beginning of the process. Although there is much to look forward to, we know this integration will entail quite a bit of changes across our organizations. That's probably the big thing to highlight right there. We want to acknowledge that and assume you were sorry, I kind of read that wrong. Let me retry that again. We want to acknowledge that and assure you we are committed to engaging in this process thoroughly and communicating changes as we are able, most importantly with the respect of all involved. We'll be making announcements very soon about senior leadership structure. It will take some time to reach our future fully integrated state. Day to day, our top priorities remain the same: to support the great content we're creating and deliver a superb experience to our consumers, and to continue to build an inspiring, inclusive environment where employees can bring their best to work every day. As we start this journey of bringing together the combined might of Disney and 21st Century Fox to create the best entertainment studio, we'd like to thank you all for everything you've done to bring us to this point and for your continued focus, support, patience as we proceed. Sincerely, Alan Horn, Chairman of Walt Disney Studios, and Ian Bergman, the President of Walt Disney Studios. So, you might have noticed that there is a little bit of a pattern with both letters from Bob Iger and Alan Horn, is that the factor, they mention about the factor that this is only the first chapter of this acquisition, that now that they've bought it, now the next step is going to be to integrate everything. And of course, a part of that would have to be the factor that sacrifices had to be made. Now, that is one little part that they didn't fully mention, and the closest thing that we've ever gotten to that is just Alan Horn stating that we will entail quite a bit of changes across our organization. So that is kind of the clue about that. Yes, there will be layoffs, there will be people that will have to be let go. And from there, I have seen quite a bit of people that are already antagonizing Disney for this, that they are completely against this merger and that they are seeing the massive consequences and want to really highlight the job losses that are caused by this merger. And not just that, but already reports came out that Disney immediately shut down one of the divisions from Fox, which is Fox 2000. Apparently, that was a little division from Fox that they immediately decided to go and shut down, that they didn't need, and decided to go let go of that. Now, the one thing that I do want to say about the job losses is that I understand your empathy for the people who have lost their jobs, and hopefully we can all see if one day maybe those people who did lose their jobs, they'll quickly get themselves back on their feet and they'll find another job elsewhere. Hopefully that will actually happen. But the thing is that it's not necessarily Disney's fault. It's not necessarily a unique problem caused by Disney that this is happening. Because the thing is, this is just business. This is very common when you see two companies merging together. The only thing that really is unique and that it stands out from many others is that these are two titans of a company that are merging together. So of course, the consequences and the sacrifices are a lot bigger. But when you do have two companies merging together, that pretty much means that you have to do some sacrifices. You got to go and trim the fat in order to fit that new thing into the bigger company. That's pretty much the whole point of this. And on top of that, the thing is that a lot of people want to be angry at Disney. They want to say that it's all Disney's fault for the job losses, but I kind of disagree. I'm not defending Disney, but I'm just saying that if anything, if you really want to be angry over a company because of these job losses, then really blame Fox. They were the ones that are willing more to sell than Disney was willing to buy. They were the ones that were doing it. And you got to keep in mind, it's not just unique to Disney, but if Fox would go and sell their assets to any other company, then the same effect would have happened no matter what. If you got Fox and they would go and sell the company to Comcast, then these layoffs would happen. If Fox would go and sell to Sony, these layoffs would happen. If they would sell it to Viacom, to Apple, to Amazon, to whoever, all those layoffs would happen. It's a very common practice. And I know a lot of people that, they're really upset at Disney on top of that because they fear that Disney would have an entire monopoly, and buying 21st Century Fox would be a way to completely, as you would say, dismantle. I don't really see that happen because if that were the case, they would have already done that with stuff like Marvel, or they would have done stuff like, they would have done that with Lucasfilm if that really is the case. Or they would have done that with Pixar even, to really cut down the competition, but that is not the case. I don't see Disney taking down 20th century. I don't see them take down Fox one by one. I don't think that's going to be the case, knowing how Disney runs their business. But I do understand that you are upset about the job losses and stuff like that, but it's not necessarily Disney's fault in this. I guess the old saying goes here is that it's nothing personal, it's just business. So now that I have clarified all of that, I think the only thing to talk about now regarding this deal is actually regarding what's going to happen right now. Because now that the deal is set, even though there are a lot of people who are upset that this deal is even happening, there are a lot of people also that are really excited about it because of all the possibilities of combining these two together, and maybe we'll see more things happening. And probably the biggest ones that people highlighted is that maybe one day, like now that Disney owns 100% of Star Wars, maybe we'll see the theatrical versions of the original Star Wars trilogy. Or maybe very soon, we're going to see the X-Men and Fantastic Four be a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I've already seen a whole bunch of articles of people trying to anticipate that maybe we're going to see it soon. Like, people are so impatient nowadays that so many are expecting that maybe Wolverine is going to make some kind of appearance in Avengers Endgame for some reason. And honestly, for that, I have to say that if you guys want to see some actual things happen in terms of Disney being of a Disney-influenced Fox, if you're waiting for that to happen, give it a good few years. I'm not expecting anything to really happen. I'm not expecting anything to really take effect for Fox being a part of the Disney family until sometime in 2022, because as they've stated before, now the next process is to try to fit Fox into Disney, and this could be something that could take years. And a great example to this, if you want to know a good idea of what I'm talking about, you go and take a look at Lucasfilm, because Disney went to go and purchase Lucasfilm back in 2012 for, I believe the estimation was $4 billion. But from there, it's not just that they went and did. It wouldn't be until 3 years later in 2015 when we see actual consequences to that purchase with Star Wars The Force Awakens. Now we are seeing the new face of Star Wars that is owned by Disney. So the same thing is going to be happening right over here. I'm not expecting anything really to happen like rather it be like something with the original Star Wars, or something with X-Men or Fantastic Four, or even like with The Simpsons or Family Guy or whatever. I'm not expecting any of that to really happen until sometime maybe around 2022. So for that, I have to say that if you guys are really anticipating for that, then I ask that you got to be patient on this one. Just really wait for this. But overall, this is just to highlight everything so far that we know with the Disney-Fox merger. So now that that is officially happening, now that the deal has officially been set, and now that we got characters like Deadpool, Bart Simpson, Peter Griffin, Sid, Cesar from the Planet of the Apes movies, and all that kind of, like, you got all these characters, and Freddie Mercury as well. Now that we got all those, we'll just wait and see how things are going to be happening. So, with all that said and done, I think I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you guys, what do you all think about the Disney-Fox merger? Now that it is official, now that Disney officially owns Fox, what do you guys think of it? Are you guys for it? Are you guys against it? Let me know what you all think about this. Okay. Oh boy. We got a whole bunch of very opinionated people on the chat wall. Like, people have been really hammering onto the keyboard on this one. Okay, let's begin. Okay, it's official, my dudes. Movies such as Alvin and the Chipmunks, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Smosh the Movie are now Disney films. Now I can probably anticipate the bloody death battle between Peter Griffin and Winnie the Pooh. I don't think this will affect the Simpsons ride in Orlando, however, considering the Marvel section at Islands of Adventure. Now, that is also going to be another discussion, like probably a different element, but it is true with the factor of the theme parks. Honestly, considering that it's been a while, probably more than a decade now, that we have seen Marvel being integrated with Disney. Since that whole thing is happening, Marvel is still a big part of Islands of Adventure in Universal Orlando. So from there, I don't think we're going to see anything related to the Simpsons ride at Universal. I think that's still going to stay there for a good while, unless Disney would make some kind of deal with it. But honestly, in terms of that, I don't think the changes are really going to be happening anytime soon. So, of course, if you want to go to Universal Orlando, you could still visit many of the roller coasters and rides that feature Marvel characters, or you can go to Springfield. So, who knows? Maybe one day, like, all the properties at Universal are gonna belong to Disney. I mean, like, with the way that they're buying things, who knows? Alright, let's see. I am personally on the fence about the whole Disney-Fox merger. It's great to have some of the IPs under one roof, but that is giving a lot of power to one company. I prefer Disney having Fox over that sick turd Murdoch, but I do worry about the possibility of a monopolistic effect of these Disney acquisitions. Honestly, for that, we'll have to wait and see with the way that Bob Iger behaves, because really, with the theme of, like, purchasing big companies, it's all because of Bob Iger so far. Like, the purchase of Pixar, the purchase of Lucasfilm, the purchase of Marvel, and now the purchase of Fox. This was all caused by it was all caused by Bob Iger. Like, in the past, like, the biggest purchase before that was just ABC, and that's it. But now with this, yeah, like, I can't understand if some people would think that this little monopoly effect is getting a little out of hand. Okay. So now that Disney owns Fox, can they please do the right thing and make a good Fantastic Four and cancel the shows that have overstayed its welcome, like The Simpsons and especially Family Guy? Seriously. Plus, also, my heart goes to the people who lost their jobs. For that, yeah, like I said before, for that, you just have to wait and see. Like, you don't expect that to immediately happen in the next year or two. Again, I'm expecting the effects to happen of Disney being a part of Fox being a part of Disney until sometime in 2022 or even afterwards. So, in the meantime, we're not going to have any new Fantastic Four movies. The Simpsons and Family Guy are still going to be on television, so it's only going to be much later till we see any consequences. Let's see now. I'm kind of nervous of what's going to happen. Let's see. I'm kind of nervous of what's going to happen after Disney bought Fox. I do hope Sony, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Universal, and Lionsgate can stay alive for the competition, and I don't want them to lose against Disney. Although I'm glad that Disney has X-Men and Fantastic Four back, I do hope they don't buy Sony because they have Spider-Man rights, and I know Sony is never going to give up the rights anytime soon. Well, for that, it's all going, for that element, I would say that's all going to depend on Sony. Sony needs to be at the point where they have to perform well, because if it were, like, in the past, like, if it were back in the days, like, in 2014 or 2015 or 2016, where they would constantly lose money and they would fall behind among all the major companies, then that could be the point where they would have to make sacrifices. So that would, honestly, at that point, that would all depend on Sony to make sure that they are doing well with their own company. If not, then you know for a fact that Disney is going to be coming for them. So they better watch out. And Sony has to be careful at this point. Okay, so you know what? With all that said and done, we're pretty much good with this story over here. I know a lot of people have so much to discuss about regarding this, and I do see that a lot of people do have very mixed feelings about this. But I know that, like, we'll discuss about it a little more when we do see more discussions and more news related to this at a different time. But for now, we'll just have to wait and see with how this merger goes. Again, we are only in the first week of the Disney-Fox merger, so all I could say is just, let's see what happens now. And with that said, let us now go and move on to our next story. And this one is going to be an update to a previous story that I talked about in AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Now, you may remember in a couple of episodes ago that I talked about a new strategy that Warner Brothers was trying to do. that Warner Brothers, they wanted to go and try to make their animation section a little more prominent so that they can have more power over it and that they can have more of a say with it. You know, stuff like Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, Boomerang, Turner Classic Movies. Now they want to put it under one umbrella that would be a part of the families and young adults division. And from there, they would have their CEO, Kevin Tsujihara, to be the leader of this, to be the one in charge of this new division. However, 2 days after that announcement, there was a massive sex scandal that just came out related to Kevin Tsujihara. That they legit revealed that apparently he had a years-long worth of a sexual relationship with actress Charlotte Kirk, where in exchange for sex, then she would go and have some roles in some big Warner Brothers movies like Ocean's 8. So from there, an investigation happened, and now Kevin Tsujihara is in trouble. So now at this point, we actually got a big update this week, and yeah, it seems pretty big right now because we got some conclusions and we got a result. And it looks like Kevin Tsujihara has to go. He's gotta go. He's leaving. He did some really bad crap, so now he is leaving. Yes, folks, it is official. Kevin Tsujihara is stepping down from his position as chairman and CEO of Warner Brothers since he was there for about 6 years. And from there, we also got a quote. This was a decision not just by Tsujihara himself, but also his boss, who is the CEO of Warner Media, John Stankey. They decided, you know what? This controversy has gone too far. There are much worse things than has been revealed since that scandal. Tsujihara's got to go. And we got a quote here from John Stankey as he stated, "It is in the best interests of Warner Media, Warner Brothers, our employees, and our partners for Kevin to step down as chairman and CEO of Warner Brothers. Kevin has contributed greatly to the studio's success over the past 25 years. For that, we thank him. Kevin acknowledges that his mistakes are inconsistent with the company's leadership expectations and could impact the company's ability to execute going forward." And on top of that, which by the way, once again, I am reading my source here through Animation Magazine, but on top of that, we also got a letter directly from Kevin Tsujihara himself, as it states here, "Dear colleagues, over the past week and a half, I have been reflecting on how the attention of my past actions might impact the company's future. After the lengthy introspection and discussions with John Stankey over the past week, we have decided that it is in Warner Brothers' best interest that I step down as chairman and CEO. I love this company and the people that made it so great. I've been honored to head this organization." Ooh, excuse me. Ugh. There we go. The gas wants to make a comeback, but anyways, "I love this company and the people that made it so great. I've been honored to head this organization and work alongside all of its talented employees over the past 25 years. Together, we've built this studio into an unequivalent leader in the industry. However, it has become clear that my continued leadership could be a distraction and an obstacle to the company's continued success. The hard work of everyone within our organization is truly admirable, and I won't let media attention on my past detract from all the great work the team is doing. I am overwhelmed and grateful for the outpouring of support I have received from my colleagues and industry partners during this difficult time. Again, I am so proud of the great work that you do every day to make Warner Brothers the gold standard in our industry. It has been a pleasure to work alongside each and every one of you. I wish you all the absolute best." So now, right now, Warner Brothers is currently at the point where they don't have a CEO, and John Stankey's current mission is to go and try to find a new CEO for Warner Brothers. But in the meantime, they actually do have some temporary leaders, and this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter again, that apparently they got Toby Emmerich, Peter Ron, and Kim Williams. They are going to be the temporary leaders of Warner Brothers until the time that John Stankey would find a new CEO for Warner Brothers. And yeah, this did not last long, let me tell ya. It's been about, like, it said, like, a week and a half or just 2 weeks, where ever since this controversy emerged, that his position just came crumbling down. And I mean, it's perfectly understandable, because what he did was absolutely wrong and especially abusive to his power. That, yeah, as long as you give him sex, then he'll give you a part in a movie. It's just absolutely ridiculous and really immoral for him. So I definitely do understand Warner Brothers' position when it comes to letting this guy go, and especially, and not to mention the fact that we do live in an age of the #MeToo movement, where this kind of action is absolutely wrong. Like, this can be viewed, like I've already said, as something that can be entirely abusive. Now, technically, it's not necessarily as bad as Harvey Weinstein, but it is still in that same kind of level where you got this top executive, someone who would be stated as one of the most powerful people of Hollywood, abusing their power in order to have sex so that he can help one of the girls out to get some little role in a movie. And even at that, Charlotte Kirk did not get a whole bunch of big parts. Like, she would appear in movies such as Ocean's 8, but you don't necessarily see her having a starring role in a big budget Warner Brothers movie. Like, you don't, like, she didn't get to the point where she would actually star in a DC movie, because if that were the case, then I'm sure this news would be completely explosive. Like, imagine if if through this process, Charlotte Kirk would have to have sex with Kevin Tsujihara, and that's how she would get the role of Wonder Woman. Would you realize how insane that would be? You realize how people would absolutely freak out about it, and it would just completely turn our culture upside down there. But apparently it was only for small parts and nothing more. So from there, it is still pretty bad. And I guess you could pretty much say that Kevin Tsujihara right now, he is completely disgraced. He is handling the situation very professionally. He's not lashing out. There are no arrests that are being made. I mean, technically you could say that there's nothing illegal that is going on, considering that the sex itself is still pretty consensual. But still, it's not about legality. This is really about morality, and that is something that is much more important than it was a few years ago. So I completely understand about what is going on. But at the same time, there is also the element about the animation aspect that some people might be wondering. So now that Kevin Tsujihara is going to be out, what's going to happen with the new division? What's going to be happening with the family and animation division that they just built up, that Kevin Tsujihara was supposed to be leading, that he was supposed to keep an eye on? Well, on that aspect, I would say that we would have to wait and see, but the division itself, that plan is still moving forward. That's still going to be happening, and it did not get touched whatsoever throughout this controversy. So for now, I'm guessing that maybe like one of the new temporary leaders, rather it be Tony Emmerich, Peter Ron, or Kim Williams, that they would have to fill in what shoes that Kevin Tsujihara had to wear before they would get a new CEO. My guess is that maybe in the future, the new permanent CEO is going to be in charge of that new division that they just built. But again, that could be an element that we'll have to wait and see, but I don't see any massive negative consequences that are going to be occurring to that division specifically. Like, this is something that Warner Brothers itself really wanted, not necessarily what Kevin Tsujihara wanted. But yeah, I can imagine that in the future, whichever new CEO they're going to get, that could make a big impact in Warner Brothers. I mean, you got to keep in mind that considering that, he worked at, Kevin Tsujihara worked at Warner Brothers for about 25 years, and in 6 of those years, then, from there, I lost my train of thought, holy crap. Oh yes, and in those 6 years, he was like the leader of Warner Brothers. So at that point, like, he really did make a lot of an impact to shape up how Warner Brothers is right now. Rather it be retweaking the DC universe to make it more standalone, where now we are getting more solo movies like Shazam. I think Shazam is its own feature. I don't think it's really going to be attached to the DC extended universe. I could be wrong, and feel free to correct me if I made a mistake there, but yeah, I don't think that really is going to be that much of a thing, but they are rebooting Suicide Squad. They are doing more things. They're going to have a new Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, and and there are plenty of other different elements that Kevin Tsujihara definitely made an impact. But I can imagine with a new CEO, Warner Brothers will be heading towards a new direction, and maybe this is going to be a direction that Warner Brothers would need, because lately they have not been doing well, and they've only had a few notable successes. So hopefully, maybe this is what the company would need, they need a switch up in terms of its leadership to bring Warner Brothers back on top. Who knows? Maybe this could actually be a great thing after all. But overall, in this case, it looks like Kevin Tsujihara is officially out, and what a weird journey that this controversy went through. Okay, and some people seem, it looks like, some people are correcting me, and it looks like, yes, Shazam is a part of the DC Extended Universe, but not as much. Okay, I see. Alright, so, with all that said and done, I would like to know in the chat wall, what do you guys think that now Kevin Tsujihara is officially out of Warner Brothers? Do you think it's probably for the best? Do you think it's probably for the best for Warner Brothers? Let me know what you guys all think about this situation. Go write it down. Let me know what are your opinions in this little case here. Okay, let's see. Oh, hot Belgian waffles. This ain't working out for old Tsujihara. I almost feel bad for the dude, but like previously stated, they got a history of Harvey Weinstein stuff right there. Here's to the new leaders to the team and how they'll impact the studio. Hopefully they won't go down in the same path as Tsujihara. Let's just give it a couple of days. Yeah, I mean, like, that's literally what happened with Kevin Tsujihara. Give it a couple of days and then, whoops, he's having sex. All right. Well, he's having sex for all the wrong reasons. Let's see now. First, Harvey Weinstein, and later Bill Cosby, Chris Savino, Louis C.K., John Lasseter, John Kricfalusi, Jeffrey Tambor, Kevin Spacey, T.J. Miller, Vic Mignogna, and now Kevin Tsujihara. I wonder who's next. I wonder why Donald Trump is still in office when several women is still giving him the allegations, especially Alva Johnson just last month. This whole harassment and allegation is going crazy this decade. Well, I could say right now with Trump right now, he's really, like, he's the one that's just resisting hard, like, no, this ain't happening and I don't care. Like, he's in a top power, but once he is out of that power, that's when the consequences are really going to hit hard and when he is going to truly be disgraced, especially with that. And this is not to mention about all the other elements and being responsible for the rise of far-right terrorism and white nationalism. So that's another aspect right there, but his day shall come. I can guarantee you that. Let's see now. What else do we have here? Do we have anything else? Let's see. I'm just glad he's out. He definitely messed up on his initial run for the DCEU. Initial films were such a mess. Okay, they should get Stacey Snider to be the new president of Warner Brothers. Since she lost her job at Fox, thanks to Disney acquiring Fox, she could step in to make some changes at Warner Brothers. Oh, you do bring up a very good point. I mean, considering that there are some people that are officially out of Fox, this, you know, honestly, the timing could not be any more perfect. It looks like, there is, yeah, maybe Warner Brothers can really take advantage of the fact that people are leaving Fox because of the whole Disney deal. So maybe we could actually see some new changes going on where Warner Brothers is bringing in some old Fox people. You do bring up a good point. That could actually happen. I would not be surprised. Okay, so with all that said, I think we're pretty much all good with this piece of news. I think we could put this little update to rest. And now it's time that we're going to go and jump into our next story, in which this one we're going to be talking about video games. Now, technically, yes and no. This is, but it also isn't, a bonus miscellaneous. While I am talking about video games here, this one is a little bit more centric regarding animation, especially when this one is a video game that is one of the biggest tributes in animation. And what I'm talking about, of course, is going to be regarding Cuphead. Yes, you guys may remember the 2017 phenomenon of Cuphead bringing classic cartoons to life. Well, it seems like Cuphead is now going to be making another comeback, but this time on the Nintendo Switch. What happened this week was that Nintendo had a special presentation this week called Nindies Showcase. Nindies is kind of the name of their independent division, where if they got independent games and they want to distribute it onto the Nintendo Switch, then they would call them Nindies. So they just wanted to have a little showcase presenting all the independent games that would come onto the Nintendo Switch. And it looks like they have confirmed that they are bringing in Cuphead, which beforehand it used to be just a Microsoft exclusive, where you can only play it either on Xbox One or on the PC. But now it seems that Microsoft seems to be a little bit more open when it comes to distributing Cuphead, where beforehand they were distributing, like you can also play Cuphead on Steam for Apple computers, but now you can also play it on the Switch, which is really awesome because now, excuse me, just trying to set up there, because now not only would you go and have Cuphead playing on your Switch, but also, considering that it is on the Switch, you can actually go and bring it anywhere. And on top of that, they even mention a whole bunch of new things that not only are the Xbox achievements going to be a part on the Nintendo Switch, but also they said that they got some new things available for the Switch version. This includes bug fixes and tweaks, brand new animations and art, fully animated cinematics, fully localized text in 10 additional languages. So now you can actually go and play the game not just in English, but you can also play it in French, Italian, German, Spanish, Brazilian, Portuguese, Polish, Russian, Japanese, Korean, and simplified Chinese. And on top of that, for the first time ever, you can also go and select your character for single player. So if you're not necessarily interested in playing Cuphead, then you can actually go and play his blue partner, Mugman. So now it does give you that option. And on top of that, they even mention about a release date and also the price, where you can go and actually pre-order it right now at the Nintendo eShop on April 18th. Well, not on April 18th. You can pre-order it right now, and the official release date would be on April 18th. And there are several prices that it has listed where for US dollars, you can get it for 20 bucks, $26 for Canadian money. It's also available for 17 pounds, and also it's in 20 euros as well. So that's pretty much the whole price and what's going to be coming up. But it is not just that. But wait, there is more. And in this case, if you're someone like me who's not necessarily all that interested in digital content, and maybe you would fancy a little more in terms of having it physically, well, Cuphead's got you covered, because they have also revealed that physical copies are going to be coming out for the Switch related to Cuphead. However, this one is not going to be released immediately. It's not going to be coming out on April 18th, because what's going to be going on is that it has stated, by the way, I'm reading my source here through Nintendo Life, they have mentioned that with Cuphead, that yes, the digital version is coming out on April 18th, but much later there will be a physical copy, and even though there's no official release date on that, they do know that it's going to be coming out sometime after the DLC would come out. So that way, when the physical copy would be released, then it would feature everything. Like all the content, all the achievements, all the new things for the Switch, and even the DLC. It's all going to be integrated into that physical copy. So that's the big thing that would be going on with Cuphead. And honestly, as someone like me who doesn't actually own either an Xbox One or a PC, but I do own a Switch, this is extremely convenient, and I'm really excited because Cuphead is one of the games that I really am fascinated the most. Like, it's beautiful to watch, and I'm really interested in playing it. If you don't know what Cuphead is a video game that is basically one of the biggest tributes to classic cartoons, more specifically to early 1930s cartoons, like the ones made by Paul Terry, by Walt Disney, by the Fleischer Brothers, all those classic cartoons of Mickey Mouse, Felix the Cat, Popeye, and all those guys. This is all just one big loving tribute, and on top of that, everything that you would see in Cuphead is actually all hand-drawn animated. They didn't really use all computers. This is legitimately a fully hand-drawn animated video game, and it's a game that is just absolutely beautiful to watch, but it has been stated that it is difficult as F. It is a very hard video game to go through. Like, you go through a whole bunch of boss battles, and it can be quite hard, and it can be quite frustrating. So, most likely, you'll have a much better time just watching it than actually playing it. But yeah, so far there have been a whole bunch of great things that have been said about Cuphead, and personally, I really am excited for it, and I will say right now, if you guys know me, then you know for a fact that I am someone who is a physical collector. I love collecting physical media, not just with video games, but also with DVDs and Blu-rays especially. Like, I got my whole collection right over here, and even, like, when you would watch my videos on my desk, I would have a whole bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays surrounding me. So, for me, I am going to be a little bit patient, and just wait and see when this would be coming. Like, just wait and see when the physical version is going to be coming out. And on top of that, they did mention that there are going to be some great bonuses as well. And what I'm going to be expecting from those bonuses, it could be very similar with Sonic Mania. If you guys don't know, Sonic Mania, it came out digitally at first, which is the fan-made Sonic game officially released by Sega. But then there was a physical version that came out of it that has everything, including all the DLC, called Sonic Mania Plus, and that one also came with a little booklet that showed all the different art and a bit of the behind the scenes of what went into the making of the game. So I'm expecting a little bit probably of the same thing with that one. So maybe it's more of a wait and see kind of thing, but that's my predictions on what's going to be happening. But I will say this, though, there is also something that's very interesting that people do bring up with the factor that Cuphead is actually going to be coming on the Switch. And it may seem very unrelated, but when you think about it, there are ways that it does make sense. Where now that Cuphead is on the Nintendo Switch, some people immediately think, Banjo-Kazooie is coming to Smash. I know it sounds completely random, but here's the thing. With Banjo-Kazooie, he is a part of Rare, which that is completely owned by Microsoft. And with Banjo-Kazooie, the thing is that Banjo-Kazooie is one of the most requested Smash players ever. Like, people have been demanding for decades to have Banjo-Kazooie be a part of Super Smash Bros. And this has been quite a long time, like probably ever since the days of Melee, that people have been demanding for Banjo-Kazooie. And ever since then, we have seen Ultimate come out, and from there, it looks like Ultimate is going to be something that that they really want to deliver what the fans want. And they even do implement a lot of characters that were highly requested for decades as well. Like, they put in Ridley a part of Smash, they put King K. Rool, so chances are maybe Banjo-Kazooie is actually going to be a part of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And with the connection here with Cuphead is that with Cuphead, beforehand, it used to be very exclusive to just the Microsoft stuff. It's only available for PC and Xbox. Like, PlayStation would never get it, Nintendo would have never gotten it, and just none of that. It's only Microsoft exclusive. But it seems that recently, Microsoft seems to be a little bit more open when it comes to distributing some of their properties, or their video game properties to be precise, onto other platforms. Which is why we are starting to see Cuphead be available on Mac as well, and now being available on the Nintendo Switch. And what's very significant, now the factor that we do see an alliance between Microsoft and Nintendo to have Cuphead onto the Nintendo Switch, maybe there are going to be some future alliances as well. And I mean, it's not necessarily just Banjo-Kazooie either. Who knows? Maybe we're going to see either Marcus from Gears of War or even Master Chief from Halo be a part of Smash Bros. Ultimate. The possibilities are there. And on top of that, and I mean, who knows? Maybe Cuphead could actually be a playable character in Smash. There have been interviews that came out that the creators of Cuphead, Studio NDHR, they would love to see their characters in Smash Bros. Ultimate, and a lot of people do agree, so that could be a very strong possibility, and it does seem like a very interesting discussion point. However, if that's actually going to be the case, I don't know. I feel like we're not going to know who's going to be the next DLC character for Smash Bros. Ultimate. My prediction is that the second one, we're going to wait until the next E3, which is probably coming out in June, I believe. Like, we got to wait until that, till we have any form of confirmation of who's going to be the next DLC character for Smash. So, for me, I would have to say we'll have to wait and see on that. But for me, I would say right now, I am definitely excited to go and play Cuphead for myself now that I got something available for it. Now that it is coming for the Switch, I am hyped up. I'll probably get angry, like probably more so than you would see in my reviews, but who knows. I'm definitely excited, but I will be patient and wait until it would come out physically. So I want to actually literally own Cuphead. I want to have Cuphead on my hands so that I can go and play it. So that is one thing that I definitely am excited about. So this is definitely cool, and I can't wait to see the beautiful art in this game. So with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to know, what do you guys think about this news of Cuphead coming to the Nintendo Switch? Are you guys excited to play this? Have you already played Cuphead? Do you want to play Cuphead on the Switch? Let me know what you all think. Okay, let's see. Never have I enjoyed a game like Cuphead this much. Even though it's hard as hell, no pun intended, it's beautifully drawn and executed and awesome to watch gamers play, and I have grown an appreciation for 1930s cartoons, especially the Fleischer brothers, and have provided me with a lot of inspiration to do animation. I can't wait to see where Cuphead and his pal Mugman will end up next. And don't forget about Miss Chalice, because I know that in the future, like with the DLC, Miss Chalice is going to be a part of the game, so soon it shall be a trio going on. Let's see now. I don't know if I'm happy or any other emotion about Cuphead, as I never played this game before, but I will say the game is going to come out on the Switch a day before my birthday. Oh, okay, that's nice. Do we have anything more? Let's see. I just want to see. Oh, okay. This is great news. I hope Microsoft does more collabs with Nintendo, as this also means you can stream Cuphead when you hit the Patreon goal for getting a new PC. I want to play Cuphead too. Yes, and what he is referring to is that if I hit $2,000 a month on my Patreon, then I would go and get a new PC, and then I would go and revive AniMat's Plays so that I can also stream Let's Plays a lot more properly and a lot more efficiently. And I have made a vow, I have made a promise that the first game that I would play on this AniMat's Plays reboot it would be Cuphead. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, I am really excited. Let's see. I am a bit disappointed that it wouldn't go to PS4 as of yet, since I'm not an Xbox player and I don't have Xbox. Do you not have a Switch either? I would like to have it right now, but I'll wait and hope it gets a chance to play and get a chance to play it for the first time. Okay, I see. Let's see. It's becoming more apparent that Xbox Live is going to be available to most devices. Might actually consider Cuphead now that it's on the Switch. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Definitely consider that. With the game being on the Switch now, you could just play it there rather than worrying about playing it on the PC. Well, I mean, it's going to be a different way, but for me, getting a PC is for a completely different reason. It's to efficiently have a proper Let's Play than just the equipment that I have. So that's just one thing I wanted to highlight on that. Okay, so with that said and done, it is now time that we are going to go and jump onto the next story. And I just want to say right now, I just want to say to you guys, thank you all so much for your patience. I know that I have covered a whole bunch of different stories, and I know that a lot of them seem a whole lot smaller. And yeah, there is an explanation as to why there is, like, the Disney-Fox merger, like the Disney deal being done. Like, that's the top story on the first one to talk about. I know that it's been a while, but there is also another major story worth talking about, and a lot of people are chanting it on the chat wall right now. I know that you've been waiting for this. I know you've been patient. But now, let's get to it, guys. Let's go ahead and check out the official trailer to Toy Story 4. So let me just get myself ready, and let's go and get things started.
Everyone?
Right now. Fudge sakes! Oh, come on. Yes, everyone, load fudge now. Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. The one time that I get it ready. Oh, there we go. Oh, now you decide. What the fridge? There we go. Now, okay. Let's do this again because it looked like my computer was not coordinating with me on this. Okay, let's do this again. Let's check out the trailer of Toy Story 4.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Oh, dang the feels. Oh, dang the feels, man. Oh my god. Even though this is just a 2.5 minute trailer, I already got the feels on this one. And I just gotta say right now that Toy Story 4, just the subject alone, is definitely fascinating to go and discuss. Because I could definitely tell you this right now, that there already is a massive backlash against Toy Story 4. And it's not necessarily that the movie did anything wrong, it's just the mere existence of it. Because the thing is, the Toy Story, I think it's safe to say that it is the greatest animated trilogy of all time. And especially with Toy Story 3, it ended... Ooh, excuse me. I might as well get it all out of it. There we go. Okay. As I was saying, the thing is, like, when you look at Toy Story 3, the ending, it wasn't great, it wasn't amazing, it was perfect. It was the perfect way to go and end the franchise. And then suddenly, Pixar would go and announce that they want to make a Toy Story 4, and a lot of people feel completely backstabbed, that they feel like this movie is absolutely unnecessary, and it kind of tarnishes the whole thing about Toy Story. So already, there's a lot of backlash that's just going at it, and even to this day, there are a lot of people that are completely against it, that they just hate the idea that this exists, and there would literally be nothing that would convince them otherwise, that there would be nothing, not even this trailer would convince them that this needs to exist, that this is going to be good. It's like, no, this doesn't exist, and I'm going to hate it, and I'm going to bash it, and I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10. I will try to campaign, you know, like, they want to try, like, there are going to be people that they're going to campaign to hate on Toy Story 4, just like the same way that dumb men's rights activists would try to campaign against Captain Marvel for some idiotic reason. I don't know, their opinions are worthless anyways. But anyways, going back into Toy Story 4, with this one right over here, looking at this trailer, oh boy, did it catch the feels, because I'm just going to say right now, looking at this one, I feel like this one actually succeeds much more than the Aladdin trailer that we actually got not too long ago, because with this, it actually does answer me the question, what else can you offer me that I haven't already seen in the previous Toy Story films? Now, granted, there are some flaws with this that can, that can pretty much tell me otherwise about the question that I asked, that it is true that you do see a lot of plot elements that are very similar to Toy Story 2. Now, that I do completely understand, and I do see a lot of major similarities where Woody has to get out of the house and he's trying to go and save a friend, but he ends up tangled up in a different situation where he meets up with other characters, which in this case, instead of like Jessie and the gang, Woody would go and meet up with Bo. I do see a bit of the comparisons, and maybe that's going to hit a little bit of the quality where this film is just recycling the same material that they had in the previous Toy Story films, making this feel a little bit formulaic. Now, that part I really do understand. But for me, what works with this trailer so far is actually regarding the emotional aspect. Because I feel like, yeah, there's probably a really good chance that maybe this is not going to be as good as the other Toy Story films, but chances, I feel like after seeing this, it's going to tell me that maybe I'm going to cry as much as some of the other Toy Story films. Like, you got the ending of Toy Story 3, and then you also got When She Loved Me in Toy Story 2. Yeah, this is gonna have the same emotional baggage. And especially when you have heard the reports about how Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, they could not get through the whole movie without bawling their freaking eyes out. That could be a big element of this, so maybe we are going to see a major emotional aspect. And what a lot of people have pointed out is actually the fact that in this trailer, they have highlighted the factor that Woody will be having, what is it? I forgot the word. It's like some kind of crisis, like emotional crisis or something like that, where at this point, the big thing that it wants to do with this Toy Story in particular is actually question the concept of Toy Story, about why they are alive. Now, in the previous Toy Story films, they do look at that just a little bit, and maybe, like, especially in the first one, where we do see a little bit about the rules. Yeah, identity crisis, existential crisis, that's the word that I was looking for. Thank you, chat wall. Yes, Woody is having an existential crisis. Now, in the previous films, we have seen them go around the purpose of a toy, but never have they really gone into the concept about why they are alive. How is it that they come to life? And that is something that they would actually experiment with Forky. And that's probably the best thing that this trailer actually did, is actually redeem Forky. Because for a while, Forky was so far one of the most hated Toy Story characters, even if this movie was not out yet, because all Forky did was just scream and run around, you know? It was almost as if Forky belonged more in some place like Wonder Park than actually in Toy Story 4. But as we see here, this one gives Forky a lot more purpose. Like, now we understand why Forky has to be in Toy Story 4, where he does play an essential role in Woody's existential crisis. And on top of that, we also do see the comeback of Bo, where she is going to have a bigger role and she will play a much bigger part in this film, where we will have an update on what happened to her during the events of Toy Story 3. Now, that's actually going to be nice, and it does look like in this trailer, she will be more of a helper for Woody, to guide Woody to understand, like, who is he? What is his purpose in life? And should he even be alive? So that's kind of like the big question. And honestly, I just find this honestly really fascinating. And in a way, yes, it does answer me the question, okay, why do you need to make a Toy Story 4 after that perfect ending of Toy Story 3? Oh, I see. I do completely understand now. And on top of that, and on top of that, it does show us that there's going to be plenty of other stuff where we see, we see Woody and the gang go around the carnival, and even in the antique shop as well, which, again, really does explore the environment of a toy in areas that they have yet to fully explore. Like we have already seen them in toy stores and in the hands of a collector in Toy Story 2. We've seen them in a daycare in Toy Story 3, but now we're going to see how toys behave when they're in carnivals and when they are also in antique shops, like where Bo is, or like all the creepy dolls. Like, that is one thing that people have been freaked out the most, is honestly the freaking, like all these creepy dolls, like with these guys. Yeah, like if Goosebumps was not enough for you, then we got this. I mean, I guess maybe Disney is starting to be one step away from trying to own Sony. Like, they want to try to get Spider-Man, and maybe they want to get Goosebumps so that they can include all this for Toy Story 4. Oh my god. Come here, Woody! Come and meet Slappy! Oh my god. But, yeah, there is going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be going on. Like, we will see a lot of action, but especially we're going to see a whole lot of emotions that are going to be going on with this. Honestly, that's what I'm expecting. Like, this is going to be one of those movies where you have to be ready to go and cry. But there is also one thing that I do want to state about Toy Story 4 and how it's going to, how audiences are going to react in the future. And maybe you could interpret this as a little bit of a rant, but I feel like there is a part of me that would say that even though right now Toy Story 4 is getting a whole bunch of backlash just by its mere existence, I wouldn't be surprised if this backlash would continue even after its release and even during the awards season of 2020, because there is a massive burden of being Pixar. I mean, yeah, sure, Pixar would go and deliver some of the greatest animated features in the modern era, but it also comes at a cost where people will forever have massive expectations when it comes to Pixar films. I mean, in a way, when you do look at how people would react to some of their not lesser known, but lesser well-received films like, Brave or The Good Dinosaurs or even the Cars films, a lot of them, yeah, they're most certainly not as good as many of the other Pixar films, but on their own, they're not really that bad. People are just giving backlash to them mainly because they're just not as good as the other works that they have done. I mean, if something like Brave or The Good Dinosaur was actually made by either DreamWorks or Warner Brothers or Sony or Paramount, it would be much better received. Like, audiences would respect them a little bit more than just giving them all crap. And I feel like I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if the same thing would happen in Toy Story 4, because let's be honest, there's a lot of expectations for this, because the only way that people are going to accept Toy Story 4 is if it is a masterpiece. If it is somewhere like in the same levels of Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3. Because that's one thing that a lot of people are asking regarding Toy Story 4 is just like, oh, how is Toy Story 4 going to top what they've done in Toy Story 2, Toy Story 1, and Toy Story 3? Well, honestly, I feel like you can't, and in a way, that does make it a little bit unfair about Toy Story 4, where it's kind of unfair where you have to immediately put it onto those levels, because I do feel like there is a good chance that it's not going to be up to that level. In fact, I would say I'm 90% sure that I know it is not going to be as good. It's not going to be like an immediate masterpiece, and that maybe this film is going to have a whole lot of flaws. Maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe it will be as good as the other Toy Story films, but still, there is a lot of expectations that you could say it is a little bit unfair in a way. And on top of that, like, this is not the only one that's been receiving it. I mean, I've seen this happen before. Like, you look at how Incredibles 2 has been treated so far. I think we can all agree it's not as good as the first Incredibles films, but well, the first Incredibles film, but at least with Incredibles 2, it is very well made on its own. At least for me, I feel like it's a really good movie. But because it's not up to the same masterpiece standards as many of the other Pixar films, a lot of people would bash it hard, and they would be angry at it, almost treat it as if it was the Emoji Movie just for being quote-unquote average. Like, somehow really punishing it hard, more so than most other animated films of 2015. Like, really punish Incredibles 2 for not meeting up to masterpiece expectations. Like, people think it's more okay to attack it than actual bad animated films like Sherlock Gnomes and Hotel Transylvania 3. And in a way, it just feels unfair. And I feel like it's going to be the same thing with Toy Story 4, that if it's not a 10 out of 10, even if it comes out like as a 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 movie, then people are just going to unfairly attack it. People are going to be extremely harsh on this. So that's one thing that I would like to point out, that maybe it is probably going to be for the best to just view it on its own. Like, not go and compare it to Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3, because there's a very good chance it's not going to be as good. And even, like, if it's very well, like, even if it's very well made on its own, if it doesn't meet to masterpiece expectations, then people might be harsh on it. Like, they're going to be more harsh on this than how people are harsh on Wonder Park now. You know, I thought I would just bring this up, so hopefully it can make people reflect and think about the way that they would react to something like Toy Story 4. I mean, again, I do understand the frustrations of its existence after Toy Story 3, and admittedly, at one point I thought about maybe the reason is because, like, you know, maybe it's the case that when it comes to all franchises that, you know, maybe it's just too much in general when a movie would have a film number 4, because at that point, I've seen a whole bunch of people getting angry saying, like, Disney is only making Toy Story 4 because they just want more money. I mean, like, well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the purpose of, like, all movies when they reach to film number 4. If you're not pissed off at Sony because they announced that they're going to make a Hotel Transylvania 4, literally for the exact same reasons why why Pixar is making a Toy Story 4, you're a godforsaken freaking hypocrite. I am just saying. But yeah, overall, the thing with Toy Story 4, I will say that maybe it's not going to come out as good as the other Toy Story movies, but I will say from this trailer, it is very well crafted, and it really did grab my attention. Honestly, this is very well made as a trailer, and honestly, maybe it did convince me that maybe there is a purpose for a Toy Story 4, and they do have some new interesting ideas. Definitely better than what we've got before with the teaser trailer, so maybe with this one, we'll see something that can actually be worth it. Maybe, like, there will be some good substance on it. Now, the movie itself is going to be coming out on June 21st, so we're going to mark on our calendars on that. So let's hope for the best that maybe Toy Story 4, if it doesn't come out as good as the other Toy Story films, then at least it can come out great. Let's just hope for the best for this. Alright, so with all that said and done, let's go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you guys, what do you all think about the Toy Story 4 trailer? Did it convince you that it could be good? Are you still against the existence of it? Let me all know what you guys think about it. Actually, write down that. Let me just get back to you for a second. And I have returned. Okay, everybody, what have you written for me? Let's see now. Although I am disappointed with Toy Story 3, although I was disappointed with Toy Story 3, the trailer of the fourth movie totally sold me. It's very well edited with the feels and promises us to be such a thought-provoking and emotional adventure that justifies a fourth entry's existence. If this movie turns out fantastic, I think Josh Cooley looks set to become the newest Pixar's legendary director. That could be. It could definitely be. Let's see. My thoughts on this is so mixed when literally the movie ended all fine with Toy Story 3. This legit feels like Toy Story 2 too much, and we didn't need a Toy Story 4 after all. Maybe the movie will be good, but it won't be as good as the first three films. Although also interesting is how Andy Potts, after almost 20 years, is weird. Much like how it was weird to listen to Mr. Incredible after almost 15 years. Well, I mean, like, she's still, like, yeah, Annie Potts has returned as Bo, and I mean, she still sounds pretty good. She still sounds like she got her acting chops for this, so, I don't, you know, honestly, yeah, you might think it's weird, but honestly, like, it is a nice comeback, I gotta say. Let's see now. I wonder if this movie will end up like the Lego Movie 2, where Gabby Gabby and the dummies will be marketed as the actual villains will be revealed in, and the actual villain will be revealed in the movie. There are rumors that Bo Peep would be the villain, but my guess is Ducky and Bunny or Duke Kaboom. Yeah, I have heard the rumors as well that some people are saying that there is a possibility that Bo Peep could be here as kind of like a plot twist villain, but honestly, I just want to say that I really, really, really hope that's not the case. I wish Bo Peep is not the villain here, because honestly, that could probably ruin Toy Story 4 for me. Because the thing is that we have already gotten so many plot twist villains from Disney, and even from Pixar as well, especially Toy Story, we have already gotten a whole bunch of those villains. Like, we already got Stinky Pete, and in a way, like, with Lotso Huggin' Bear, like, he is more of a transitional kind of villain where he starts out good, but then you realize, oh wait, he's actually the bad guy. So, I just hope that with Bo Peep, they don't actually do that. They keep her as more of a protagonistic role instead of making her like kind of a misguided bad guy or something like that. I just hope they don't go in that direction. Let's see now. What else do we got? I'm still hesitant on Toy Story 4. The Toy Story franchise is the biggest one that I grew up with more during my childhood, and I don't want the fourth one to suck. If it's not great, then I hope it would be as okay. The one thing that brought me to this trailer are the slappy lookalikes. It's almost like Disney took notes from Sony and just make their own slappy of their own. Well, not necessarily. It's not like these characters are just going to be they're not like Slappy from Goosebumps. It's just, you know, it's just a pop culture connection, but really they're just going to be sidekicks. That's the freaky part, is that they're just going to be sidekicks to a little doll that's going to be leading the pack. That's the freaky element right there. Let's see. Oh, hopefully that doll is just going to stay like a flat out villain throughout the whole thing. So hopefully that's just going to be, all that. Let's see. Man, I really hate, how people want a masterpiece or meet expectations. Movie sequences don't have to be the best thing in the world, and being decent is completely fine in the fact of how people feel or like it. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see now. Besides being obviously very excited for this movie, this trailer has now made me understand why they decided to change Woody from a ventriloquist doll to a pull-string toy doll. Seriously, those things are scary as hell. Oh, you do bring up a very good point, because originally Woody was supposed to be a ventriloquist dummy. Let's see. I'm probably not the first person to say this, but I'm excited for this film. Even as a casual fan of the franchise, Forky is hilarious, as well as the other characters. It's nice to see Bo Peep return, and the animation is beautiful, but am I surprised? Nope. Yeah, the third film had a, in your words, perfect ending, but I'm wishing the fourth movie is the best. Oh, I also like the redesign of Andy. If it actually is him, my last day of school is Pete. Okay. So I think we're pretty much all good with that, and a lot of people do have a bunch of reactions to that, but I think now it is time that we shall go and head on down to the grand finale. And there is honestly a good reason why I saved the Toy Story trailer for right here, because it actually connects to the last story that I want to talk to you guys. Now, we have already discussed about the elements about why people are upset about Toy Story 4. Rather it be just by its existence, or how in this trailer it does seem like the plot line would be a little too similar to Toy Story 2. But there is also another reason why there are a lot of people really upset that this is a thing. There's one other thing that a lot of people are really angry about, and that is actually, hold on a sec, where is it? There we go. Yep, it's all because of him, our boy Andy. And the internet is mad of the fact that Andy has a brand new look. And as you can tell right over here, it is very true that Andy, which as you guys know is the kid who was the owner of all the toys like Woody, Buzz, Ham, Bo Peep, Rex, and all those guys. Like, they used to be the owners before, at the end of Toy Story 3, he had to let them go to a little girl named Bonnie and then head to college. But a lot of people seem to be really mad at the fact that Andy had to change his looks throughout the Toy Story franchise, where he looked different in Toy Story 1, he looks different in Toy Story 2, and he looks different in Toy Story 3. And there have been some angry tweets where people would point out that apparently the design of Andy is even different to how he looked back in Toy Story 3, that this Andy is completely different. And from there, a lot of people really got angry, but at the same time, they're also making up these weird theories that apparently some people are trying to find a way to make an excuse about this new design of Andy, and some people are even saying that apparently, like one person on Twitter actually stated, plot twist, that's Andy Jr. Andy got Buzz on his 8th birthday in '95, so Andy is like 32 now straight up. So some people are thinking that this is a brand new character. The reason why he looks a little different is because, well, that's not Andy, that's actually his son. He's 32 and he now has a kid. Okay, let me just clarify all this and let me just put in my opinion here that, honestly, I have no problem at all with Andy's new design in Toy Story 4. I have no trouble with the way that Andy would look different in every Toy Story movie. In fact, I actually do think it's a good thing. In a way, you could actually say that Andy from the Toy Story movies is the personification of how technology has evolved in the animation field. Because Andy really does represent how the animation, how animation technology is at its time. Where we see Andy, yeah, he's completely different in Toy Story 1. Well, that's because the animators had to work with the technical limitations. But now, considering that in terms of technology, animation, really the limit is just, like, the sky's the limit in this case. Now they can actually make him look like a boy. They can make him look different. And even in the case of Toy Story 3, yeah, of course, Andy looks different in Toy Story 3 compared to the previous films and even in the new one. That's mainly because it was in 2010, where, yeah, it's different than 1 and 2 because it was made 11 years after the second film. And even here, you gotta keep in mind, Toy Story 3 is 9 years old now. And even back then, the technology has greatly evolved since in order to create new details, in order to refine the looks of their characters. And I'm just gonna say right now, I totally do not believe that this is the theory that, oh, this is Andy Jr. No, this is not the case for 2 reasons. Number 1, you state that Andy is technically 32 right now. Well, if that actually is the case, that Andy is 32, this kid is pretty old, I gotta say. He looks like he's 9, he's around like 9 to 10 years old. So if this really is Andy Jr., then honestly, Andy conceived him when he was like real young, like 21 or 22. Like around that age where having a baby is most likely an accident. And also, reason number 2 why this is not Andy Jr., there's this really fascinating concept. It's called flashbacks, where you have moments where you can reflect on what happened in the past. Like those things actually exist. Like that's the thing. You know, you look at this and it's like, oh yeah, this is what happened. And I mean, like the layout is exactly like Andy's room. So there's no mistake that this is legitimately Andy. And also another thing, I just want to go and ask you guys. I want to ask the people who are really mad at Toy Story 4 because they made Andy look different. It's like, why can't they make Andy look like how he is in Toy Story 1? They keep forgetting how Andy looks like. I just want to ask you guys, do you really want this Andy from Toy Story 1 to look exactly like that nowadays? Do you really want that, guys? You gotta keep in mind, I mean, like, looking at this Andy, like, if you have someone making a character design that looks just like that for their people, it would immediately be scrapped. It would be unacceptable. Because, honestly, this thing, like, if you put this out in your movie nowadays, it looks more like a toy than the actual toys themselves. Like, you look at Andy in the Toy Story 4 trailer. This Andy, like, I'll just put this here. Andy here looks like a kid. This legit looks like an actual kid who likes playing with his toys. Okay, this is perfectly fine. You know, you can tell that this is actually, you can tell that this is actually a legitimate boy. So that makes a lot of sense. You look at Andy in Toy Story 1, however, this one looks more like a monster than anything. It looks like, it looks like he's holding up Woody like,
I love you, Woody. You're my favorite deputy. You got a friend in me. We gotta go on an adventure with Buzz. I love you, Woody.
Oh my god. It's honestly just ridiculous. Like, you can't just keep the same designs. Like, yes, it is okay to keep the same designs of the toys because they're toys. It's fine to keep Woody and Buzz looking the same. And in fact, like, they did get some upgrades ever since Toy Story 1 even. Like, even they had a little bit of changes. And on top of that, I mean, technically, Andy is not the only one who had a significant change. There was also another character, Bo Peep. She actually changed a lot since the first movie. And again, back then, they had to make Bo Peep look like how she was because of the technical limitations. Now, they decided to make her look a little more like an actual porcelain doll. Like, now, she is more refined, she has a better look, and she actually looks great, honestly. I really do support this new look, and I'm not gonna lie, Bo Peep looks kind of cute. I actually like this new Bo Peep. She's actually hot. She's actually pretty cute. I like this. I like it. But yeah, honestly, that's the thing, is that Andy really, because the thing is, I really do like this, because the thing is, Andy is really a testament to how animation has evolved ever since. Like, this Andy reflects upon animation in 1995, and now this new Andy reflects upon how animation is in 2019, and let's be honest, this look on Andy is not that bad. He actually does look really good for an animated film. This is actually a really good design. So honestly, I really don't see the problem, and it really does show how the haters of Toy Story 4, they can really exaggerate their hate. Debatably a whole lot more than how I used to exaggerate my hate on Sony animation. So that's the thing, it's got a little bit ridiculous, to the point that really, if you have to be that mad that Andy does not look like the monster that he was in Toy Story frickin' 1, then honestly, it's more, like, the problem is more you than the actual movie itself. I mean, well, like, what's next? Do you want the dog to come back from Toy Story 1 looking exactly like how he was? Like, that's not even a dog. That looks more like a freaking computer glitch. So, yeah, like, honestly, I just find this to be absolutely ridiculous. And in a way, it really does show the lengths where people are really digging deep into finding something to complain about. Even when it's something like the trailer of Toy Story 4, where if it's too much to complain about just the existence itself, then you could just dig deep and find, okay, let's just go and complain about Andy. You know, they'll just go and take it that far. Okay, so with that said, let us go into the chat wall, and I want to know, what do you guys think? Are you guys upset that Andy looks different than he was in Toy Story 1? Would you wish for this Andy to come back? Do you want, let's have a closer look. Is this the Andy you want? Or are you okay with this new Andy? I just want to know.
You got a friend in me. When the world looks up ahead, the miles and miles when a nice one bit. You just remember what your old pet said, cause you got a friend in me, Woody.
Oh man, I love doing that voice. Okay. Let's see. I don't understand the controversy with the redesign. As previously stated, I like it. Honestly, the funniest thing about the debacle is people saying rest in peace, crackhead Golem Andy. Crackhead Golem Andy. Oh my god. I thought I will have to say the Andy Jr. theory has some solid evidence. Not to mention Pixar had to redesign Tony Reidinger for The Incredibles too, and I haven't seen anyone complain about it. The internet can be something else sometimes. Actually, no, I disagree with you. Holy crap, you just reminded me something. No. There have been some people who did complain about Tony Reidinger. Like, I remember just before The Incredibles 2 was released, or I think it was just when it came out, people flipped out how Tony Reidinger looked completely different than he was in the first Incredibles. Like, I remember that was legitimately a thing. Like, maybe you hadn't seen it, or maybe you forgot about it because it was just a stupid controversy, but yeah, I remember that was legitimately happening. Let's see. My only nitpick is that it looks like they changed his facial structure between this and the third film, but I could be wrong. Once I see the actual scene. Other than that, I actually like the redesign. Also, what do you think of the fact that the poster revealed that Andrew Stanton is a co-writer on this? Oh, wait. Oh, Andrew Stanton worked on this as well? Well, I mean... Okay, well, if you brought in Andrew Stanton, if he was helping out co-writing the feature, if that really is the case, then honestly, I think it could be in good hands. I mean, Andrew Stanton, he's been there since, like, the very beginnings of Pixar. And he was a key player in bringing Toy Story to life. So honestly, in that case, yeah, maybe it could be in good hands. Like, maybe they will, like, hopefully Andrew Stanton is careful to make sure that it's not the same as, like... all the other, it's not going to be the same as the other Toy Story films, so hopefully that will be a good sign. Okay. Let's see. What do we got? I'm so mad about this because what kind of stupid haters make a complaint about Andy's redesign, and why on earth would people complain about Tony's design in Incredibles 2? Because it is the internet. The internet will literally find anything and everything to find something to complain about. In fact, you have no idea how hard people can go on me just because of either my voice or my orange fedora. I'm just saying, dude. It is the internet. That's the kind of dumb environment that we are in that's filled with idiots. Okay, let's see. It's ridiculous that people don't understand evolution in computer graphics. I remember Pixar had to rebuild the character models in Toy Story 3 because the old files didn't work. Nobody complained about it back then. Why now? Again, that's the environment of the internet that we're in. People are desperate to find something to be angry, to be mad, and to complain about. They need it more than just to be happy. Like, the internet rather wants to be angry than to be happy, so I'm just laying it down there. Let's see, I'll just read one more. As much as I wouldn't want any real-life baby looking like the demon spawn of Tintoy, I wouldn't want Andy look like how he was in the first movie. Yeah, like, could you imagine this at the end of Toy Story 3? Like, this face, like, coming towards Bonnie to give out the toys, like,
this is my friend, Woody. He is my best friend in the whole wide world. We have great adventures. I need you to take care of him. So long, partner.
Oh, good God. Do you guys really want this? I mean, look at this face. This is a face that belongs and should stay in 1995 for the rest of eternity. And with that said, folks, that is going to be it with this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And I just want to say what a wild ride it has been, and it was so much fun. So with that said, I want to say thank you all so much for watching. It has been a great episode. I had a blast with this. And hopefully we will have more great stories to come, and maybe we will have some developing updates on the Disney-Fox merger. So I just want to end this off by saying thank you guys all so much for watching, and until next time, see you later, dudes!